We've got Bob riled up today, so stay tuned. When does a pattern start to look like a deliberate strategy? When it's an election year. Check out some of the examples that have a few reporters connecting the dots.
The Republican base does have elements that are animated by racism, and that's
but,
unfortunate.
Even I asked a Republican friend why his party remains so opposed to extending the vital lifelines for struggling families and really hungry children. What he said was, to the Republican caucus, these people you're talking about are invisible. And the Republican caucus is indifferent to them.
They want to open a new front on the war on women, and this one cruelly focuses on poor women.
These people who hold themselves out to be patriots are not. They're nothing more than domestic terrorists.
Terrible. Okay, so Major Garrett of CBS News wrote that about a strategy called stray voltage. This is something David Plouffe had talked about in the previous campaign, and it goes something like this. Controversy sparks attention, attention provokes conversation, and then the conversation embeds previously unknown or marginalized ideas in the public consciousness. Mm-hmm. We've been following this campaign's been heating up for about the last 6 months, and Greg, every time we look up, we can see that there are more smears, and then the smears then sort of become what we end up arguing about with Bob.
Right.
And do Republicans just not have the ability to do the same type of thing in reverse?
Well, it's clever. It's the level of, like, say, race baiting hyperbole is inversely proportional to their amount of facts. So without a leg to stand on, the first thing you do, that's your choice of weapon, is to call people names. And it's genius because when a conservative or a libertarian gets angry for being called a racist or a bigot, that then becomes proof that you are a racist or a bigot because you're reacting so angrily. That's their strategy. Accusations of bigotry are their aspirin. Whenever they get a headache, that's what they take. And I would call it a race card, but that implies there are other cards available for them. It's a race deck.
And that is one of the things that some of the reporters were writing about, including John Dickerson over at Slate, who says facts schmacks. As long as people are talking about an issue where my party has an advantage with voters, it's good. So then you get to, Eric, what I would guess is a zero-sum game.
Race card, race deck, but somewhere in there, there's like 4 cards, like the Joker, and they're women. So Republicans have a war on women as well. I'm sorry, Dan.
Okay.
I was just thinking about your question.
Are you calling women a joke?
No, I'm not. No, I'm saying in the deck of race cards, they slide the women issue in there.
Right, and so I was just going to say, what John Dickerson said in his piece was, does it mean then forget about the facts, as long as my party wins, then it's good. So you end up with a zero-sum game and you don't actually achieve anything.
And again, it solves their issue. The more we can make the shiny object over here talk about, what are you laughing about? This is the strategy.
I'm just trying to sit here putting Democrats in a bad corner. You're getting Republicans as if these are the bright, shining people on the hill. These dogs have been running negative crap for years. You've been out there. I've been out there. I've been in the front lines of getting this crap for Republicans.
You designed this strategy.
Being called socialist, communist. Greg loves to show the word socialist around. Now, you say race, I say, and now I'm going to attack to be as a socialist or a communist.
Bob, where are your attack ads to show?
I can't get them because you know why? I asked for some attack ads. I'm about to give you some, but I have to give them verbally because our producers won't put on the Republicans.
You are 100% right. Every time, there have been 20 or 30 occasions where I'd say President Obama's policies are just like a socialist. He might be a socialist president. I have. But you know what? I'm right.
Oh, right?
Oh, my
You're right.
gosh. This is going
You don't know what the word
downhill.
socialist means. Don't start throwing race baiting around if you're going to call socialist and communist. Let's have an agreement here. We won't. You at least drop the word socialist, and I'll drop the word racist.
If they weren't taking from one group and giving to another, and having this class warfare thing going on, I would agree with you.
Okay.
But that's what's going on.
Well, let me
Bob's
just give you the Texas Republican Party's latest pact they had. It's called Bros, Boats, and Hoes. Now, that's about welfare people.
Oh,
now,
my God.
you think that's something you could get these producers to put on the air? Of course not. The Alabama State Party said women who are taking care of their children who happen to get on welfare ought to go out and pick up garbage on the streets. Now, would you put that on the air here? Of course not.
Bob,
So that's what.
where are you getting
The
this?
hose are about gardening.
Yeah, right.
Where are you getting this, Bob?
I'm getting it from the internet. It's not hard to find.
the
All
internet?
you got to do is Google it. All you got to do is Google it. You find as many things on the Republican side, if not more.
Okay, yeah, he
Okay,
is
that's
mentioning it.
fair.
He said he's Googling on the internet about bros and hoes. I mean,
It's a story. All you got to do is put Republican attack
Thank
ads.
God Bob has Obamacare to help
Bring
his
up
mental health
go
situation.
put Google Republican attack ads. You'll get the Koch brothers, and you'll get hoes and boats, and you'll get. I mean, it is. Go look at it. You absolve yourself. You think this Republican Party is some dainty little nice people? They're a bunch of thugs.
Bob,
you understand it?
Can I respond to you, Bob? I wish the Republican Party was as bad as you guys, because you guys clean our clock.
Yeah, you're doing way better.
The tainting somebody as a racist and a homophobe has been working forever. And that's why you won't let go.
And so has socialism.
I just want to ask Kimberly something. Let's just say that Bob
my
is.
eyes water.
Let's just say that everybody here has a point.
Okay.
Then,
okay.
Is it a short-term strategy to try to win a midterm election that actually hurts your long-term credibility? For example, the poll last week that said 60% of Americans now believe that President Obama lies some or all of the time on important matters. Do you think that is a problem?
Good question. Suggest the answer. The answer for $1 million is yes. I mean, it's awful, right? I mean, look at the polling, Bob. You can't deny that.
No.
He's got a credibility problem and a trust issue with the American people. That's a big problem. So you can talk about
all I would have liked to have seen is one clip here of a Republican congressman, that redneck fool from South Carolina who called the president of the United States a liar during his State of the Union speech. Did we run that? Of course we didn't run that.
But Bob, okay,
That's
what
3
you're talking
years ago,
about,
Bob.
that criticism that you're discussing, whether it's about ideology or whether it's about honesty, those are things that you can actually debate and argue. When you are called a racist or a homophobe, that actually ends debate. It prevents people from actually fighting back, because then it's your problem to say I'm not a racist or I'm not a homophobe. But with the socialist aspect, you can actually debate that and go, show me where.
Okay, well, let me just respond to you on the racist thing. I hear what you're saying about the racism, but when you talk about the number of Democrats who've used that, there have been some. There certainly have been some. But it is by no means a reflection of the entire Democratic Party.
Well, what about, but it's a style of speaking. So, for example, when Harry Reid, the Senate Majority Leader, last week called Cliven Bundy and anybody that supported him domestic terrorists,
right?
Don't you I mean, that is what we're talking about in this block, is that they take it one step too far so that you don't end up talking about the fact that the federal government and relationship with the states in the West is out of whack and needs reform. You end up talking about how American patriots, whether they are or not, domestic terrorists.
Last week I denounced that very statement. My point here is that you can't take and selectively take clips out there and say that it represents the entire Democratic Party, because
no,
it
but
does not.
Did you read the articles?
It does not.
Did you read the articles, though, that talked about reporters in Washington who are connecting the dots of, oh, I see, this is the pattern. You say it here, she says it there, he says it there, and then it becomes the new narrative, as you said.
To be honest, I mean, they've been reaching into the bag and pulling out the same driver.
Well, you've been accusing Obama of being a liar.
No, I'm not saying that. I don't know that anybody is saying that. What we're talking about is the strategies that they have been using and the rhetoric that they have been using pretty consistently as of late. That's why there's so many examples of it.
Bob, you may have denounced.
Suck my thumb for a second.
If you could and keep it
Please
in
do,
there.
yeah.
Good. That'll make it 40. That'll make it 40. Then maybe you have a fair chance.
Bob does have a point.
Yeah, that's right. No, make it 40-0. Then maybe you could win.
Bob does have a point. We did say that Obama was a liar about 2 minutes ago, and then we said we didn't say it.
But here's the other thing, Bob. You may have denounced
thanks,
Harry Reid's
Ombudsman.
ridiculous comments.
What's wrong
but no
with
one else
you?
has.
Who's
He
TV
hasn't.
for?
He hasn't denounced. He hasn't said I made a mistake, and there's no other major. No one else is denouncing Harry Reid's comments. Someone should.